How many? How many? How many? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. What did I get up to?
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. 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 Spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Hello, and welcome to a new episode of How Many, your podcast all about pop culture and four guys eating boudin and drinking Cokes on a Saturday morning talking about stuff.
Pigs in the blanket were delicious.
Oh, thanks.
So was the boudin.
Yeah, I am Jesse Jackson. Joining me today is...
Bob.
And Scott.
And Junior.
Yes, and today
That's so
we are
Mickey Mouse
turning
Club.
the page to... It is, but that's okay.
Annette!
And what's funny is, if we did this on video, I point to everyone who I want to
Which, how many great Musketeer Club members have there been?
Oh, including new, like
that would be
Timberlake
Britney
and Britney Spears.
Timberlake. Future, how many topics?
Yeah, it is. All right, so today we are going to the topic of movies, and one of my favorite topics, even though I am by heart a DC guy, I embrace the Marvel Universe as well. Junior, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so recently one of the newest MCU movies just came out, Black Panther, which was a very good movie. I would say it's somewhere between 5 to 10 range of the 18 movies that the MCU has had.
I give it 9.5 out of 10 claw necklaces.
Ah, very nice. Good reference there.
And if Brian Wilson would have named the movie, he would have called it Help Me Wakanda.
Yes.
Because that's really what they're looking for, is help from Wakanda.
So, I thought it would be fun to just take a look at all of the Marvel MCU movies that have come out, starting with Iron Man way back in 2007, all the way to the most recent release, Black Panther. So, altogether, there have been 18 movies.
There have been 18 movies.
18 MCU movies.
Right?
So, of those, how many of those had really good, interesting villains?
Because, you know, the villain, he's the best part.
They're usually the funnest part of the movie, right?
If you don't
It's fun
have a
to do
good
bad
villain,
things.
Yeah.
then your hero is...
Absolutely.
And there's several
Which is
components
one of
to
the reasons
consider.
why, and if we could, let's take a minute. I think one of the reasons why Black Panther works so well, one, you don't need to know everything about the Marvel Universe. It's a very good standalone movie. Two, his sister, as his version of Q,
Yes.
for the James Bond, brilliant. She is
Yeah.
amazing in it.
Yeah.
But also, Michael B. Jordan from Friday Night Lights fame is a great villain because you actually think, to a certain perception, he's right at what he's fighting for.
Yeah, he's got a very good motivation.
There is people that will have wished that he had won.
Yeah.
Because people wanted to see, him go through with his mission of kind of getting comeuppance on all the people that have oppressed his people. So,
But that's the thing about
kind
the
of a good
villain.
anti-hero.
He's got to have an interesting motivation and backstory. It's he personality wise has to be interesting.
And Michael B. Jordan, this is the second time he's actually been in a Marvel movie because he was the Human Torch in that really bad Fantastic Four movie.
What, the Miles Teller one?
What's funny is a friend of the show, Charles Skaggs, who I do my Doctor Who podcast with.
Yeah.
Boz's brother.
He says so. Chris Evans was the Human Torch.
Yes.
In a really bad Fantastic Four movie, went on to be Captain America greatness.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, Human Torch, went on to be a great villain. So
the
first,
Fantastic Four is the minor leagues.
Yes.
And there's actually a few others, like you've got Ryan Reynolds, who was Green Lantern and Deadpool,
Yes.
and Josh Brolin, who was Thanos and Cable in the upcoming Deadpool
Yeah,
2.
there's a lot of
double
cross-pollination.
over, yeah.
Yes.
They must really like certain actors.
Double
whenever they
dipping.
do Marvel.
Yeah.
Double-
Which I think is a little unstable.
It is. It is. I mean, especially in that universe, you don't want somebody in a completely different role, you know.
There was, and I'm going to give a plug here to one of my favorite YouTube channels. There's a Watch Mojo that has a list of how many actors have portrayed Marvel, or not Marvel, but comic personas in multiple movies. And that's a really good category because you don't realize how many people were a DC person in one movie and all of a sudden they're a Marvel person in another
Oh,
one.
that'd be good.
It was a very interesting
Okay.
list.
All right.
And I love lists. So that's why
So,
You know that's right.
I know you're not a big go to the movie guy, Scott, but this is, I think it's worth seeing. At the
I think
movie
I can
theater.
handle this.
Yeah, I think, well, no, and I also think, though, if you have time, if you can break away from Tolbert's hearing a
Fish stick.
band, that Black Panther is really well done. It's worth seeing in the movie theater.
All right, so let's get
Okay.
some numbers out there. So, Jesse, of the 18 MCU movies, how many great villains were part of that?
So I'm going to be stingy and say, I'm going to say 10.
10, okay. Pretty high number.
Yeah, I think overall they've been pretty decent villains. I may be overselling a little bit now that I think about it, but I'm going to go with 10.
Okay, Bob?
I'll go 9. I'll go one down.
One number. Scott?
I'm going to under it, and I'm going to say 6.
Okay.
6. Okay, so I've done the research.
Yes.
If I hadn't, I probably would have been in the 13 to 14.
Really?
Well, I've seen all of them.
Yeah, and
So-
they're all pretty good movies, so yeah.
And as I say, everything ties into everything. You can't
Yeah.
skip Marvel. If you watch one of them, you got to watch them all. So
I disagree. Black Panther, good standalone movie.
Yeah, but that character
Was-
bleeds into other
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
So, real quick, and this may be for another how many, but what's your all-time favorite Marvel movie, Jesse?
Of just this,
The MCU, yeah, these 18. Of these 18, what's your favorite?
Probably 2. I couldn't go 2.
Avengers
1,
2?
Iron Man started first, and it was just so good. You weren't sure that it was going to be a good movie, and Iron Man was so good. And you also, you would want, as a fantasy, you'd be just as happy being Tony Stark as you would be being Iron Man, So I think that one. And then I think Civil War is
that
just
was
so,
my-
there's so many pieces and they blend it all well together. It's good.
I absolutely love Civil War.
So that's your favorite one, Civil War?
It would be a tie between that one and the Avengers, the first Avengers.
Now you think about that Avengers, Josh Whedon.
Because that was such a different
Yeah.
thing. Like, I had never seen a movie that took characters from all of these other movies and put them all together. The
Avengers.
star power that it
You're
had.
Yeah,
right.
successfully.
Avengers was it.
And Scott,
Yeah,
have you seen any of those that you really like?
For me, that really stands out though is Iron Man because I've never been even a big fan of the team, okay, of the team Avengers team, or even even the DC teams. I was never a big fan of those. Alpha Flight, I read that, I kind of enjoyed it, but when I read all the team comics, it always annoyed me because it's like each one of them had to have the same amount of time to speak. They're in this big fight.
Oh, yeah.
I will take this one.
Yeah.
Wait, let me get this.
It's like Super Friends, the Saturday morning
Yes,
Super Friends.
and it was always kind of annoying to me because it's like, man, that's even though it's not supposed to be real life. It's not going to be that way, and that just kind of annoyed me because I have my favorites and that's who I wanted to see, and so.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was
definitely-
an incredible
solid,
movie.
That's
solid
definitely
movie.
my
That was
number
a-
one.
that one kind of slips off for me a lot of times. So
I
remember
forget
that's
that
a
at
Marvel
first, but
movie.
yes.
The
It
soundtrack is, I think, what puts that movie over the top. More
The
than-
soundtrack, the humor.
Yeah,
The
Star
humor.
Wars is very
It
funny.
also had more, like, humanity, emotion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really good.
I love the even though it was very funny and smart-assy, I loved the fact that he had this intense connection to his mother.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And it was a case of like, you're not stealing that tape. You know,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mother gave that to me. You son of a bitch.
And another one I'm going to give special mention to is I think it's the most underrated of the Marvel movies is Ant-Man. I really
Yes,
enjoy, and I'm
it-
looking forward to the sequel coming out this
Yes,
summer.
and it was really funny. It was and then who's the
Michael Pena,
yeah,
the
is
sidekick.
just genius
Yeah.
in it. And then when you see him like in The Martian, you know,
Yeah.
he's amazing in that. He's a really
He's
good
a really
actor.
good actor.
He's hilarious
He
in
can do
Ant-Man.
drama. He can
Yeah.
do comedy.
Yeah, he's good.
Very wide ranging.
He's good.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and start going in chronological order through the movies.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the villain. So starting with Iron Man, which seems to be a fan favorite
Yes.
amongst us. The villain in that was Jeff Bridges playing Obadiah Stane, who was the business partner of Tony Stark, helped build Tony Stark's weapons industry, and then ends up turning on him, betraying Tony Stark, building his own Iron Man suit. They have the big conflict at the end. Obviously, Iron Man wins. What did you think of him as a villain in Iron Man?
I thought he was pretty good. I'm always kind of I get let down when somebody betrays somebody else, you know. But I'm an incredibly huge romantic, and that's probably one of the things about comics that always got me is I love the good guy to win, you know.
Yeah, you are
And-
on record as saying you will not watch a horror movie unless the good guy wins.
Exactly.
So you have to be told ahead of time that good is going to triumph over evil.
Good is going
Yeah,
to try
so
to.
Halloween, you might want to leave that one off.
I did. I walked out of Halloween 2 twice. So, but yeah,
That's the one where she's in the hospital trying to run
Yeah,
away?
the number
Yeah.
2, yeah.
Yeah, but I enjoyed him because he was a good villain to what Iron Man was supposed to be.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I thought he was a really good villain. His betrayal kind of came out of nowhere too. Like
Right.
he was, they were buddies, best friends at the beginning of the movie. I was not expecting him to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Bob, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I really like Jeff Bridges, and that's a great movie, but maybe it's so long since I've seen it. I didn't remember this villain until you guys started talking about it, but I probably hadn't seen that first one in
10 years.
yeah,
That's when it came
probably
out.
yeah, it's been a long time.
Okay, so we'll count that one. The next one is a Marvel movie that kind of gets lost in the shuffle, I think, mainly because the main actor changed. The Incredible Hulk, the Ed Norton one. So
That's
in that-
considered MCU?
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, because
That's the Ang Lee one?
How about the
because
first one?
That one is not.
Okay, so that's the one I'm thinking of.
Which
Yeah.
one's the Ang Lee one? This one or the other one?
The other one. That's
Oh.
the one that had what's his
Eric
name?
Bana.
Eric Bana, and it had Jennifer
Garner?
No, I don't know.
The girl from
the
Dangerous
lady
Mind.
from Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Oh, Conlon.
Conlon.
Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was Betty Ross.
Be right back.
And
Yeah, BRB, exactly.
what's his face? Nick Nolte was the bad guy, the dad that ends up turning into an electricity monster.
Yeah.
That one is not considered MCU. So
Okay.
Ed Norton's Hulk is considered MCU.
And I liked that version of the Hulk, but I do not remember the villain, so I'm going to say no.
Yes, so there was really two villains in that movie. General Ross was played by William Hurt, which is the father of
Jennifer Connelly. Really?
Yeah, Steven Tyler's kid.
Liv Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
she's Betty Ross in that one.
Oh, she sewed the flag?
Yeah. Was that, I think her name was Betty Ross, right? Something
Betsy.
Ross.
It's always
And,
very similar.
The other villain in that movie is Tim Roth, who played the Abomination. He ends up taking the serum
Right.
to try and get Hulk's powers, and he turns into this big skin monster, and they have the big fight at the end. That one, it kind of gets
Yeah.
lost in the shuffle, and people don't really
Yeah.
remember that one very well. And even though Tim Roth is a good actor, I didn't really think his portrayal of
Yeah, I don't think it was a good
the
villain.
villain was that great.
I've never seen that movie.
Okay.
Can't skip. Everything ties into everything.
Okay.
So we're going to give that one a no?
No.
That's a no.
Okay. All right, so next on the list, Iron Man 2, which has, and I think Bob mentioned this earlier, Mickey Rourke
Oh, so
as
terrible.
No.
Whiplash.
No.
Not German, he was a Russian...
Yeah, with the toothpick and everything. No, I didn't think it was good.
And that movie actually had two villains, Mickey Rourke, and then Sam Rockwell played Justin Hammer, who was like Tony Stark's rival in the weapons industry.
Oh, yeah.
And he hired Mickey Rourke to build a suit.
Yeah.
And then that's when Rick Mickey, no, drone better, suit bad, drone better.
Ivan, what's this? Jack, is that a helmet? Doesn't look like a helmet to me. How are you supposed to get a head in there? Jack, could you put your head in there? Try to put your head in there. No, go ahead. Try to put your head in there. See, Ivan, he can't put his head in there. That's not a helmet. It's a head. I need to put a guy in there. I need to fit a person in that suit. You understand?
Drone better.
What? Drone better? Why is drone better? Why is drone better?
People make problems. Trust me, drone better.
Ivan, I like you. I got you the bird. You said no problem.
And he builds all of these drones that end up attacking Tony Stark. And at this time, they had switched out Tony Stark's friend. It originally was Terrence Howard, and then they brought in Don Cheadle to play his friend, and to be the War Machine, basically.
Yeah.
So, no on that one?
No.
And that's one of the things that bothers me about the movies sometimes is that we have to have an overlap of the villains. That there is the multiple villains, and I think that kind of started with the Batman.
Yeah,
when you had Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and the
villains had to team up also.
Right.
Yeah.
So just give me one villain and make a story out of it.
I personally like it when there's multiple villains, especially when they fight each other.
When they turn on each other.
I'm a big fan of the bad guys turning on each other, not just in movies, but in like TV shows and stuff, where all of a sudden, Negan's group will end up fighting the trash people or something. Like I'm a big fan of the villains turning on each other,
like in Ozark,
like in Gotham.
Yes.
The Riddler and the Penguin. They were friends, and all of a sudden they turn on each other. There's something about that appeals to me. Okay, so Iron Man 2's villains are a no, right?
No.
That's correct.
All right, so now we're getting into the next movie, Thor, and Loki is the bad guy.
Yeah, Loki's greatness.
And we will see his name come up several times.
Loki was so good that they actually, we got to use this guy back.
Can't kill this guy off.
Yeah.
We need him in future movies. So he's definitely a yes, right?
Yes.
Everybody kind of agrees. Do you guys consider Loki the best villain of all of the MCU? He's definitely made the most appearances.
Yeah,
we need to hear more villains, but he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, I think he's leader in the clubhouse.
Yes.
All right. So next up, the Captain America, the first Captain America.
One of my top 5 Marvel movies.
Yes.
Nobody likes that movie as much as I do.
I really liked it.
Yeah, Junior hates
first
that
Captain
movie.
America?
He hates the first one.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just didn't think it was that good.
Was
you're
it
totally wrong.
Was it the time?
Yeah, he doesn't like it set back in the past.
No, that was genius.
I don't have a problem with that. I just thought some of it was kind of boring.
No, and I thought the whole genius of him not being in fighting and just doing Bond things, and then him
like
going,
USO stuff.
Yeah, his shows were really funny. Punch on Hitler.
But that's
really good. Really good. The Spider-Man: Homecoming at the very end, where he said, he does the PSA. Sometimes you wait, you anticipate
Patience
something,
is a
and
very
patience,
good
and you
virtue.
go, you didn't get anything.
Hi, I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have: patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
So the bad guy in the first Captain America was Red Skull, played by
I thought it was
Hugo
Hitler.
Weaving. Hitler never makes an appearance in this one, but Red Skull is in it, who's played by Hugo Weaving, who was the bad guy.
And there was also the Doctor, the evil German
doctor.
Yeah.
So did you guys consider him a pretty good villain?
I give Red Skull.
Yeah, Red Skull was very solid.
Okay. We'll count that one. Okay, so next up, after Captain America, was the first Avengers movie. And again, Loki is the bad guy in this one, although he's kind of getting a helping hand from Thanos, who's just seen in a very limited part in that movie.
And do you count Loki twice? I know it's 2 different movies, but it's the same.
I would count it twice.
Well, no, he counts. No, he just
one villain. I mean, it's
one
the same villain.
So no to this one.
Well, I mean, you count
it's the
it,
same
but the number wise, you don't change the number because it's still Loki, right? Or are we saying?
I think his villain portrayal should count separately. Because he was a different type of villain in this movie
All
than
right.
he was in the first one.
Fair enough.
Okay, that's going to pad our numbers. Because I'm going to vote for Loki every time.
You don't have to twist my arm. I'll say no if you guys...
Now, was Thanos... I'm trying to remember in the movie. Was Thanos... Was he the heavy, or was he actually working for the ultimate heavy?
No, you're thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy when the Lee Pace guy was working for Thanos. The guy with the blue... Ronan, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the first Avengers, Thanos gives Loki the power staff to go back to Earth and conquer Earth. So Loki is technically working for Thanos at that point, although he kind of turns on him midway through the movie. But Thanos is barely in it. Loki is really the main guy in that movie. We'll say no on the Avengers. All right, so next up, Iron Man 3. Which had two villains, although one of them was not really a bad guy. The Mandarin is who you think is the villain at the beginning. Played by
Gandhi.
And so he's considered the baddie until you realize later in the movie that the real bad guy was Guy Pearce playing Aldrich Killian, who was the guy using a serum on former soldiers to try and give them powers, but it turns out that they end up killing them.
See, he was pretty spare, but the Mandarin was shake laugh, even though he wasn't legitimately... I would count the Mandarin, but not...
The Mandarin had a lot of good shtick.
Yes.
He was very funny.
And that was surprising to me because I remember the Mandarin, and that was I thought that was a great kind of twist because I was like all excited and we have this great actor, and then I'm like, is he doing shtick? It's like, no, it was that, yeah.
So, do you want to say yes to
Yes,
that one?
I would do, yes.
Okay. All right, so next up is Thor 2, The Dark World. In that one, the bad guy was Malekith, played by Christopher Eccleston, and he was the dark elf that stole the ether.
Give me the Doctor, yes.
Yeah, I know Jesse's going to go with him because he's the Doctor, but that was an unmemorable character.
He didn't really have much...
I thought he was very good in it.
I mean, he didn't really have a lot to say. He was just he almost seemed like background noise to me in that movie. The main plots of the story were the action, and I don't really remember him doing anything.
Yeah, see, I don't either, although I don't want to go against Jesse's Doctor Who.
Jesse, if you want to count him, I'm more than willing to pad the numbers here.
Yes. He is
Scott,
a doctor.
And I will have to say I'm going to give my nod to the Doc.
All right, so he counts.
I'll count him in The Leftovers.
Yeah,
he was good. He was good in The Leftovers.
He is really good in The Leftovers.
Okay, so after The Dark World, the next MCU movie was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So in that one, there's two villains. Bucky Barnes, who plays the Winter Soldier, who is Sebastian Stan, who was great in I, Tonya, by the way. And then also Robert Redford plays Alexander Pierce. Who's the guy that runs S.H.I.E.L.D., but he's really working for Hydra.
Both genius.
Yeah,
they're both really good characters.
Yeah, so do we count both of them like two?
Yes, I think so.
You want to count it twice?
Well, there's two villains.
Yeah, there's two villains. I think Bucky is a great villain.
Are we counting them as
And then Robert Redford, Hail Hydra.
Because we're not counting movies, we're counting villains.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which bothered me because Robert Redford, I don't like seeing him being...
Boy, I know that was like the first time I could ever remember him being a bad guy.
I was kind of the same way, like...
which was genius on the movie's part because you never see it coming because it's like Robert Redford screwed over America. What the hell, man?
This Jeremiah Johnson, dude.
What would Woodward say? This is outlandish.
So that movie, I think, is considered one of the best of the Marvel movies.
That's a very good one.
I love the Winter Soldier,
and that's why I didn't want to count. That's why I say no matter how many times Loki is in the movie, he counts
one time.
One that is how many villains, and so yes.
And I love the Winter Soldier. It bothered me that I knew that he was Bucky because again, it's the whole turning on your friend thing that it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, you get cringeworthy. Right?
Yes, I get uncomfortable with that. But I thought that he was.
But he does have his moment of redemption.
Yeah, just like Loki, they start out as villains, but then they kind of become.
But he was a brilliant action.
Yeah, that movie had a lot of great action.
That was great.
You know, setting up, they hired a really good actor to play Bucky in the first Captain America, so that you could later do that.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, one that Bob mentioned earlier, Guardians of the Galaxy. Ronan was the bad guy in that one. Again, he's another person working for Thanos. He uses that giant hammer, right, to kind of kill people.
And Ronan, he has the 2 daughters.
No,
Thanos has the daughters. Okay, Thanos has the daughters. I'm trying to remember.
He has Gamora, and he has the one that's all robot parts. I forgot her name.
Nebula,
who is the
hot chick from Jumanji, and one of the Doctor's companions.
And she was also in The Circle. She was really good in The Circle. So Ronan, do you want to count Ronan?
I like Ronan. I did like Ronan.
Yeah, he was funny because there was that part at the end where eating on the air. There was that part where Andy Dwyer does the big Star-Lord does the big dance. Yeah,
and he's all confused.
What are you doing?
I also like when he's fighting Drax in that city, and Drax is like telling him, "Oh, you killed my wife, you killed my family." I don't remember that, but obviously it meant more to you than it did to me. He has a lot of good shtick in that movie. Okay, so next up, after Guardians of the Galaxy, was Avengers 2: Age of Ultron, which was Ultron was played by James Spader, who we talked about a little while ago. I thought he was a great villain.
Yeah, that was a good
Age
one.
Of Ultron. Even though he was a robot the whole time, he was a very intelligent villain.
I did not like him as much as I wanted to, but I will go with the group. If the group thinks he made it, and I really wanted. I thought, what's almost bad is the Pinocchio song, "There Are No Strings on Me" ad.
I had strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me. I got no strings, so I have fun. I'm not tied up to any fun.
I actually thought was better than some parts of the movie. I think for as much as Avengers worked, Avengers 2 felt like they were trying to force too many other stuff because they were setting up other things.
Yeah.
Well, they had to start having internal conflict.
Yeah, like
and that was
they were like, instead of just telling a movie, like, okay, well, not only do you need to tell the story, like, here's A to Z, but now that you need all these other things to build in.
That's how they forced in Scarlet Witch, they forced in Quicksilver, although enjoy
him while you can.
And then they forced in Vision. It seemed like they were trying to cramp a lot of things into that movie. But I still liked the movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I think I know what you were getting at with the James Spader and wanting to like. Part of it is you missed not getting to actually see James Spader. As great as his voice is, part of the genius of James Spader is his facial, all of his,
his ticks and things like that.
Are we going to give a yes
to
Ultron?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so next up, when we talked about a little while ago, Ant-Man. So in that movie, the bad guy was Yellow Jacket, played by Corey Stoll, who is also the guy from The Strain, the vampire TV show. I thought he was a good villain.
That guy kind of beats me down. I'm going to say no on him.
He was very evil. The way there's a part in that movie where he kills the guy in the bathroom and just kind of wipes him off the ground.
I think I have a bias against that guy because at that time that movie came out, I was also watching House of Cards, and he's a beating on that show. So it was like, I don't know.
When I saw the end, and it was, I thought the guy was a little over the top.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was like a little bit too insane.
And
I
almost thought the new dad was. Starts out as a kind of a villain, and then they later find their way. So, I'm going to vote no. I think the true genius of this movie is Michael Douglas, and the interactions.
Paul Rudd.
And all Rudd and all that.
The chick from Lost.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and she's
Which
a
I didn't
big
even
player.
Recognize her.
She's a big player in the next one that's coming out this summer.
She's going to be the Wasp.
And then they're going to mix in Michelle Pfeiffer as the wife that disappeared into the ether or whatever.
Yeah, I hardly even recognized her until close to the end of the movie. I started thinking,
I know that lady.
That's is this the girl from the Lost? My wife.
Yeah.
She was also great in that movie with Wolverine where they have the Rock'em Sock'em robots fighting
that
each
movie
other.
was Real
Was it Real
Steel.
Steel? I really like that movie. All right, so we're going to give no.
No.
Jacket.
Yes.
All right, so next up, Captain America: Civil War. That one, the villain is Helmut Zemo, who is the German soldier that gets Captain America and Iron Man to fight each other, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a forgettable role,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, he did succeed in what he's one
He
of the
was
few,
very generic.
He's one of the few villains in the MCU that actually accomplished what he was setting out to do. He got Iron Man and Captain America to hate each other in that movie and fight.
I vote no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving him a
Yeah,
thumbs
I mean,
down.
He had
You
no
could-
personality, man. It
You
was
can
just
make an
very
argument
generic.
that Winter Soldier was a villain in that movie as well.
Yeah.
Because at the first part of the movie, he's the guy that's getting blamed for everything that's going
Yeah.
wrong. So we're going to give Captain Zemo a no.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Doctor Strange. So that movie
Another
also,
underrated
That
Marvel.
movie also has two villains. Mads Mikkelsen plays Caecilius, who is the guy that is trying to take over from the Ancient One, who's played by the actress
Tilda Swinton. Now, isn't he the Hannibal Lecter on
Yes,
the TV series?
he was Hannibal Lecter in the Hannibal TV show, and he was really good in that. He was really good in Casino Royale, the James Bond movie. He was a really good bad guy in that movie as well. I think he's kind of typecast as a villain in pretty much everything he's in. Also, Dormammu is the bad guy at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because
He-
Doctor Strange keeps reversing the time. Dormammu, I'm here to bargain. Dormammu, I'm here to bargain.
Yeah.
And Dormammu gets so whipped. Stop it, please. Let me out of this prison. Oh.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Come to die. Your world is now mine. What is this? Illusion.
No, this is real. Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
What is happening?
Just as you gave Caecilius powers from your dimension, I brought a little power from mine. This is time. Endless, looped time. Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
You cannot do this forever.
Actually, I can. This is how things are now. You and me, trapped in this moment, endlessly.
Then you will spend eternity dying.
Yes. But everyone on Earth will live.
But you will suffer.
Pain's an old friend. Dormammu! I've come to bargain. Dormammu! Dormammu! Dormammu!
And there's the guy that turns against Doctor Strange at the very end.
At the end, he gets betrayed by, I forgot the guy's name.
But he goes-
Triple 4 or something like that, right?
Yeah, and then he
really need to say this spoiler alerts through this whole thing. At the very beginning. I know, but
and
still.
he re OJ Braganza's Benjamin Bratt at the end, doesn't he? When Benjamin
Yeah, he
Bratt,
does.
yeah, he was. Remember Benjamin Bratt? Like he was all playing
Yeah, he was
basketball.
playing basketball. He gets hurt again at the end? I don't remember.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
takes
they-
away
yeah,
his.
because the magic, because he says magic shouldn't exist.
Oh, yes, I remember.
So
Oh,
spoiler alert.
yeah. Spoiler alert.
Retroactive.
So we're going to give...
No, you'll put that at the beginning of the episode. You'll say, by the way, we
Spoilers.
give away. Yeah.
All right, so Mads Mikkelsen and Dormammu, we're going to give yes.
Yes.
I thought he was a really good villain.
Well,
I agree.
I will concur.
Yeah.
I'm always, whenever I saw the Venture, not the Venture, excuse me, the Doctor Strange, I always think of the Venture brothers and the next door neighbor. You ever see the Venture brothers?
Yeah, is that the one where the guy dressed up like the monarch or the...
Yeah, but his next door neighbor he's a sorcerer, like Doctor Strange, and he's always, I have to go back home to make pudding for my daughter, It's just...
That's pretty good.
Floating in the house,
Venture Brothers has Putty as the
Patrick
Yes.
Warburton.
as the Samson-looking guy,
Right.
And it has that hot nurse-looking lady that has a man's voice.
Yes, she's a Dr. Man.
Yeah. Pretty funny show. I saw a couple of episodes.
Okay.
All right, so now we're getting into movies that actually got released either 2017 or this year. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. In that movie, the bad guy was Ego, played by Kurt Russell, who was, spoiler alert, Star-Lord's dad.
I don't like to see.
I didn't. That was one that I did not like that him ended up being the bad guy. That sucked.
But
I mean, it was a
thought
good
he
movie.
Was a good bad guy.
Yeah, I do, and I agree. You wanted Kurt Russell, who is so likable. Grew up starting out in Disney movies and has been
Snake
Snake
Plissken going to be a bad guy.
But
I just didn't agree with his motivation. I just thought, why would you do that? It just didn't. I don't know.
Basically, he was going to every planet, planning himself.
Yeah.
So that way, eventually, they would all turn into him.
Well, he was having to keep doing it until he found one that worked because they were all mutated up.
Yeah, and he needed Star-Lord as basically an extra power source to power
to
all
destroy
of these
the world.
things. Yeah. So do we want to say yes, no?
Yes.
I give him that because it's one of those things to see. I didn't like seeing
So
him
that
play
alone
the bad
makes it
guy.
a good villain.
His performance was good.
It gives
It's
me
just-
that creep factor, and it's like, yeah.
So that means
So it was almost like another Robert Redford type deal.
Exactly.
It was,
And underrated actor.
Oh yeah,
Kurt Russell.
definitely.
Oh, yeah, he would be a very
that would be a
interesting
very
How
good
Many.
how many? Yes.
That guy,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, Spider-Man: Homecoming, who had the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah,
Another
he was-
person
I enjoyed
that's
him.
played
Yeah,
comic
Batman,
book characters
Yes.
in multiple movies.
I would
really good.
I would actually put the Vulture up there with Loki. We were asking which was the best villains because first off, the motivation's perfect. The reasoning
Yeah.
behind what he's doing,
He got
but
effed
he's a
over.
regular guy, just a working guy.
Got screwed over.
And he uses the technology, so it's not far fetched. It makes
Yeah.
perfect sense, just like Killmeister or whatever. Very good
Yeah.
motivation.
Killmeister.
What was the guy from
Killmonger.
Killmonger. I'm thinking of
Lemmy?
Lemmy. Motorhead.
Okay, so we'll give the Vulture a yes, right?
It's very strong. Yes.
All right, so next up, Thor Ragnarok.
Now, do we do the Shocker?
It
You know,
shocks
the
you. It
minor
shocks you.
guy?
Yeah.
I don't think so either. Okay.
Shocker was never a good character, even
Okay.
when he was a standalone.
Yeah, he was a very minor bit, and he gets beaten pretty easily.
As he
Okay.
should. That guy should get his.
That's
butt
like
kicked.
the guy from the Captain America movies. That was the bad guy that got his face burned off at the end, and he was in Civil War, and he blew himself up. A very minor role, but I forgot the name of the comic book character that he became. Very minor bit was the Shocker.
I can't
part.
remember.
He was working for Robert Redford, and at the end he fights the Falcon.
Yeah.
and the building blows up. But he
That Frank Grillo dude.
He's Grillo, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy from all those Purge movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't count him as a villain.
No, he's a henchman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Shocker would be falling.
And that's a good idea right there.
Yeah, he works for the villain.
Is he a henchman or is he the villain?
So in Thor Ragnarok, Hela was the bad guy. Actually, there's two bad guys if you count the Grand Master as a bad guy.
No, he was just he's that
Who
shit.
has massive shake-ons in that movie, especially when he's doing the big crazy dance. Celebrate your champion. Very funny movie. Thor Ragnarok may be, of all the movies, the funniest of the MCU movies.
Yeah, that's way up there.
That one and Ant-Man are probably the funniest ones.
Yes, they are.
Which did
Hela,
they need
I thought
to be?
was a great villain.
Yeah.
She was wonderful in it. I totally agree.
Boy, and she has never looked better.
She was
Yeah,
great.
she had that
That-
goth.
Kate Blanchett,
Oh,
She had that
very
really
good.
gothy kind of look to her. She was wearing that
the tight suit, very nice.
Yeah.
From,
And usually I don't really think she
Underworld.
looks that great.
Yeah, usually I'm more of a Kate Winslet fan than a Kate
Yeah,
Blanchett
but
fan.
in this particular movie, her whole dark look had some kind of sexual appeal to it. So we're going to give her a yes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So now
And
we're
also,
to-
did we include the Jeff Goldblum?
I would.
Yeah, I would count him.
Yeah.
I would count him.
I would count him as a villain.
He's a secondary villain, but he was a good villain.
He's very good in it. I mean,
He's so funny.
It's like, so we're going to call it a tie.
Yeah, and then And when he kills that guy at the beginning with the stick, I pardon you from life. And then he melts that guy. Oh, it's on my shoes. It's on my shoes. And the way he's mocking Thor the whole time. Oh, the Lord, God of Thunder here. Lord of Electricity, huh? Where do you want to go back to? What's the name of the place?
Asgard?
Yeah, you want to go back to Asgard? Is that where you want?
In any case, you know this, you call yourself Lord of Thunder.
God of Thunder. I've never met this man in my life. He's my brother. Adopted.
Is he any kind of a fighter?
You take this thing out of my neck and I'll show you.
Oh, listen to that. He's threatening me. Hey, Sparkles, here's the deal. If you want to get back to Asberg.
Asgard.
Any contender who defeats my champion, their freedom they shall win.
Fine, then point me in the direction of whoever's ass I have to get.
He's all Vince McMahon'd up. He's like generating all the publicity and everything.
He's very funny in the movie. So now we're to the most recent one that we all saw, just last week. Black Panther. Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, is the bad guy. Although I guess that one also has two, if you count Andy Serkis as the Claw.
Oh, yeah, because he was also in.
He was in Ultron. That's how he got his arm cut off. Ultron chopped his arm off when he was stealing all of his vibrations.
Yeah, I would actually count him as a villain because he's not really a henchman. As a matter of fact, he gets killed by.
Although spoiler alert, enjoy him.
Yeah, but
Joss Whedon read it.
Yeah, I would count him as a villain because he's the one that got the brother of the king involved in stealing the vibranium from Wakanda.
Yeah. So we had discussed it earlier. Michael B. Jordan, I thought, was really good, and he was one of the few villains outside of maybe Loki, also where you're kind of rooting for the bad guy to win a little bit because his motivation to a lot of people would seem pretty pure.
And I think that's a really good performance because T'Challa, is that how you say the Black
Panther's name?
Yeah, T'Challa. Comes across very regal. You could tell he was raised in another country and as a prince. And Michael B. Jordan is much more American, street. And so that combination, that contrast really worked. So yeah, I liked it a lot.
All right, so that is all of the MCU movies. So let's take
we have
a look.
12.
And while you're figuring that out, do you remember the old comic book, The Phantom?
Oh yeah, I used to love The Phantom.
And the one I'm thinking of was this guy who was raised in Africa,
right?
And his father bequeathed it to him, and then whose father bequeathed it to him, and
Ghost Who Walks, one of my favorite characters.
And that's I keep going back to that guy when we're talking about.
It is similar to that. It is similar to that.
I mean, is that how it was?
Yes, it is. They show you the king, the very first king of this tribe. They show you spoilers. He unites the 4 or 5 tribes, and they pick him as king, and then so that's the legacy of the.
And they have a ceremony where somebody can challenge the king and become the king of the tribes, which happens multiple times in this movie. And those are always really good action scenes as well.
Yeah, it was.
So,
movie of that? I'm sorry, did they make a movie The Phantom?
They did, and Billy Zane played
it. Billy Zane, that's right.
It was not a big success.
No,
but it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
It captures the feeling of that comic strip,
right?
Because that was very 40s and 50s era.
That's what it was.
Exactly. Yeah, because he always had a 45 on his hip.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anytime I think of Billy Zane, I think of Zoolander. Listen to your friend Billy Zane.
Don't do this, Derek.
Listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool dude. He's trying to help you out.
Oh yeah. That's a walk-off challenge, my friend.
So, since we counted villains multiple times in this list, we actually came up with a total of 16.
Oh, wow.
Great villains out of 18
Out of
movies.
18 movies, because some of them had multiple bad guys in it.
Okay.
So, very high numbers.
Which is another reason why the Marvel Universe has been so successful. Because they've had great casting,
great actors.
Yeah, they're really, very few bad Marvel MCU movies, or even underwhelming.
So,
No, I agree.
of our list, which one would you say was the worst? So I would guess I would have to go back to the Hulk movie because it's so forgettable, right?
Yeah,
and
Jeff Bridges maybe wasn't very good. He was better as the computer guy with the beard, but then when he became, the evil robot guy, I didn't think that was as good. I don't think Jeff Bridges was a very strong.
Yeah, I am in the minority of not liking the first two Thor movies. I really loved the third one, but the first two I didn't really.
I liked the first one a lot. The second one was to me kind of forgettable.
Mm-hmm. In the Hulk, Bridges is I'm trying to remember here. Is he genuinely a bad guy, or is he a government guy doing his job, following orders?
General Ross, played by William Hurt.
Oh, maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges was the Iron Man bad guy.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was thinking of...
He was more a guy just doing his job, and he really didn't like Bruce Banner because he was dating his daughter,
right?
Which turned him against him.
And see, and I wouldn't give that as I wouldn't make him a genuine evil.
And he shows up later. He was in Captain America: Civil War. He was the one that had the Sokovia Accord paperwork for them to sign.
Oh yeah,
so that's how that ties together. Even though they switched out Ed Norton and they brought in Mark Ruffalo to play the Hulk, which again is why I think people forget about this version of the Hulk because Ed Norton didn't last very long.
And that's part of the Spider-Man thing that has bothered me over the years.
All the different Spider-Man.
Different Spider-Man, and how many times are we going to start this story over again?
Yeah, they keep rebooting. Yeah.
The other, and Spider-Man's the only one that's shifted over from non-MCU to MCU, right?
Because Fox and Sony had the rights to Spider-Man for a really long time. I think more Sony. So Sony was putting out those Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies that came out, a couple of years ago. And then before that, it was Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. And none of that translates into the MCU up until the Tom Holland appearance in Civil War, which was a great introduction for him, by the way.
And he's really the best Spider-Man because he's the right age. He just the other two guys were too old.
Maguire. I mean, I thought that trilogy was a really good Spider-Man series. But I do like this young guy.
Although we find out later that Tobey Maguire is a giant a-hole in Molly's
Player
game.
X.
Yeah,
I need to see that.
In Molly's game, Tobey Maguire is played by what's his face?
Michael Cera.
And,
well, they never say it's Tobey Maguire, but
it's known that he is Player X basically, and he is the biggest jerk.
Really?
Poker jerk, yeah.
No, I mean, just a jerk in general. The things he does, which is really Tobey Maguire's personality and what he did in real life.
Oh, okay.
Kind of peeling back the curtain on how much of an a-hole he really is.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, he used to run around with DiCaprio, and they call themselves the P Posse.
All right. So I know you have to go.
Redneck is
Bob.
So Jesse, you won the showcase. You had the highest number at 10.
Okay, good.
Bob, you were at 9, unfortunately, so you undersold yourself.
I really undersold it.
Yes.
So,
well, guys, thank you for another great discussion. Thank you, listeners. Please go to our Twitter page at How Many Podcast and follow us. I can be reached at Jesse Jackson DFW.
I can be reached at Mexican_Jr. on Twitter, or you can send me an email, MexicanJr@hotmail.com, or find me on Facebook if you'd like.
We should create up a Gmail for the account. We should create that. Yes?
Scott_Matula on the twit.
At Lukewarm Tallboy for Bob.
And thank you guys for listening. Go to iTunes, rate and review us. 5 stars, give us some love. And tell your friends about us. We're trying to reach.
And maybe there's something you'd like to hear discussed.
Yes.
We're always open to how many topics.
Yes, we are always open. Yes. So for now, keep hope alive. Thank you. Bye.
Come on, Stark. Having trouble picking up a little hammer? You mean to tell me that I'm stronger and sexier than you, and my girlfriend's hotter than yours?
We are Avengers, kicking Hydra's ass, causing mass destruction. We are Avengers, dedicated to saving the world. Raiding a Hydra outpost in the east. Retrieve the scepter that was once Loki's. Connect the scepter to Ultron, but then things go so wrong. We built an evil machine. Hydra's experiments go and join up with his hell-bent scene, mobilizing a massive evil team. We are Avengers. The wizards up ahead, Hulk needs therapy. We are Avengers. Come Veronica to put him down.
I'm sick and tired of Ultron's motherfudging army on this motherfudging helicarrier.
Hold them back with also very much. A sexy body Hulk want to touch.
It's a vision I was shown about Infinity Stone.
Reincarnate Jarvis with the synthetic body that we retrieve. Maximoff switch to our team while we destroy all Ultron's beams. We are Avengers. We can cross his ass and it's time to party. We are Avengers. Hulk was drumming off and he's got blue balls. We are Avengers. We defeated Ultron and we